and welcome to this video where today I'm going to be filming my 32-week pregnancy update. So as always, if you see me looking down, I've just got my notebook here in front of me. I'm going to be talking through all my symptoms and also my 32-week growth scan and doctor's appointment following that. So starting off with a few things that have stayed the same for me. I'm still getting cramp in my legs during the night. This is still happening a few times a week. I'm also just feeling a bit tender in my stomach, just on the area that I've spoken about before. Baby tends to sit more on one side, and that is really where the skin is stretched out. I've said before it can feel quite numb there, it can feel like it's just stretched out to the max, but it also can be quite sore to the touch. Even just gently it can be quite uncomfortable, I think, just because the skin is so stretched out there. I am finding sitting down can be quite comfortable. I find this on and off. Sometimes it's worse than others. I haven't found it so bad the last couple of weeks or so. However, there's definitely still moments in the day where I do get really uncomfortable when I'm sitting down. We did go out for a meal as well this week, and we'd had quite a big dinner, and it was the first time I felt like I shouldn't have had such a big dinner. I feel like there was absolutely no room inside my stomach for a baby and dinner, and I remember feeling like that when I had my daughter, but I especially felt like it this week as baby's getting much bigger now. I have noticed over the last few weeks that my stomach has felt quite itchy at times. I'm not sure if this is down to the clothes that I'm wearing, as to work I'll often wear like a knitted woolly jumper as it can be quite cold there, and I do find, obviously even with t-shirts and things underneath, that this becomes quite itchy. I think because my stomach's stretched out, it's a bit more sensitive to the touch, so jumpers are irritating it a bit more. And just in general, sometimes it does feel a little bit more itchy, but I think that's quite normal. I am using like a stretch mark oil every evening. I think you are meant to use it twice a day, but I feel like because it leaves like such a greasy texture on me that I just like to use it before bed. And yeah, I just put that on. I don't know whether it really helps with the itchiness or anything, but I was gifted it, so I thought I might as well carry on using it now. I would say I've had a little bit more of an emotional week this week as well. I feel like my hormones have been a little bit all over the place, especially towards the end of the week. Things were getting to me. I was just becoming upset over little things. But again, that's just a pregnancy hormone thing, and that's been on and off throughout the pregnancy. And yeah, it obviously must be a time where my hormones are a lot higher at the minute. So yeah, I noticed that a little bit more. I've also struggled with constipation again this week, not to the point where it's becoming a problem and really painful, but just something I've noticed alongside pregnancy. So again, as mentioned, this can be on and off between week to week. It's never so bad that I need to speak to the midwife about it, but just something that I've noticed again. I've now started to become much more tired throughout the day. Usually this is in the afternoon, and I tend to have a bit more of a burst of energy in the mornings, but on my days off usually I'm like, we need to do this needs to get done, but at the minute I'm just feeling like I want to just have a chilled day, maybe like read my book, relax, watch a bit of TV. I find I'm definitely starting to want to slow down more, and usually I am the opposite. I'm always busy, always doing something, but I think as I'm getting closer towards the end now, I'm definitely taking more time to relax where I can. I'm still finding that my bump is looking really quite low down. I remember probably around this time in my daughter's pregnancy that I used to get a lot of pain up in my ribs as baby was sat so high and squashing everything. I'm not sure if that's something that I'll get a bit more over the next coming weeks as I get bigger, the baby gets bigger, but yeah, I've not found, touch wood, that my ribs have been too squashed this time, which has been quite nice. However, the baby does look like they are sat very, very low. I often get comments through the week. Again, I've had it this week, I've had it on other times as well, where people are saying, oh, you must not have long left to go. And I've had someone actually say to me that it looks like the baby sat really low as well, and it looks like they've dropped down a little bit, which usually, again, you don't really get until the end. But yeah, I've had a few comments like that now, and I've definitely been thinking it too. I had switched to a pregnancy belly button piercing quite early on in my pregnancy this time, but I found recently it can feel really quite uncomfortable. It looks like it's kind of at its max stretched, and I think I'd probably need a bigger one if possible, but this, as I said, was a pregnancy one, so I thought it'd probably last me. I don't find that it is now, and there is really no room in there. It was beginning to get quite uncomfortable this week, and I went to kind of adjust it and the piercing just snapped, so I've just taken that as a sign to take it out. I'm going to try and not let it heal over. I'm maybe going to put it in just for like every few days, maybe for like half an hour or something, just to kind of keep the hole open, and then hopefully after I've had baby it will just go straight back in. But I'm trying to not let it close over, but also I do think it's probably the right time to take it out now, as it is just getting a bit too uncomfortable for me. So yeah, I have taken that out. At the start of the week, I did actually think that the baby could have changed positions. There was a day that was particularly uncomfortable. They were moving around in all weird ways, and I could see my stomach going into funny shapes. I did still feel like they were head down, but maybe switched sides of my stomach or turned a different way, just because I was feeling movements in different places. But obviously I had my scan this week, so I thought they'd probably tell me once I was there anyway to see if I was right. So that was it for updates of symptoms this week. So I'll go ahead now and talk through my 32-week growth scan. So when I went in for my scan this time, the appointment lasted around 15 minutes, and they take the same measurements as what they've done on my other scans. So they're looking at the head size, the stomach size, leg size, and the general weight of the baby as well. So they said that the baby was moving around lots, was looking really happy in there, but as predicted, they have swapped sides, so their back is going up my left hand side now, but they are still head down, which obviously is a really good thing. They can switch kind of up until a bit later on in pregnancy, but the fact that they've stayed head down is really positive. So they were really happy with the growth of the baby. All the measurements came out looking good. The only thing that was slightly off is my fluid levels, so the waters are slightly higher than what they would like to be. They did say they're only like 0.9 over what they should be, so it wasn't anything to be too concerned about, but as I was seeing the doctor, that they would speak to me about it after the scan. So yeah, as mentioned, following the scan I did go in to see the doctor, and she just spoke to me about the fluid levels. She said that this is often due to the gestational diabetes that I have, and that it could be caused from having gestational diabetes. But again, she wasn't too concerned. She said the fluid levels can literally change hour by hour. They can go up, they can go down, and at the moment they're not too concerned. However, they do want to keep an eye on this just to check that this doesn't carry on a trend this way and they keep rising, going higher and higher. So they have booked me in for another scan in 2 weeks. So I was due to go for another growth scan at 36 weeks, but when I'm 34 weeks, they want to see me to just measure the fluid level. They said they won't do any baby measurements at that appointment, but they'll just check the fluid levels are okay, and probably see the doctor after that one as well. They did say that after the scan the baby was measuring around 3 pounds 11 ounces at the moment. Obviously this is the stage where they put on the most weight, so they're going to be getting much heavier much quicker now. The weight on the chart is actually measuring on the 9th centile. So originally we started on the 99th, and then I think it was the 50th, and then the 25th, and we've kind of gone down since. So I'm hoping that by the time I go for my next growth scan, that baby hasn't dropped any lower, as they're still well in range, but they're on the lower side of things. So hopefully that still stays the same and they're happy with the measurements as they are at the moment. But the team at the hospital didn't seem concerned at all at the minute, and everything else is looking really good. So that was everything for updates for this week. So I'll go ahead now and show you the bump at 32 weeks pregnant. So this is the bump update at 32 weeks and 6 days. So that's everything for my 32-week pregnancy update. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye.